it to you. And I'm catching feelings, baby.
Hey guys, so for my birthday weekend, I chose to go on a Highlands weekend trip, and this trip was sponsored by the college that brought us abroad, and we had a very tight itinerary, so let's just go through it. So the first stop on this trip was the Glenturret Distillery, which was one of the main whiskey distilleries in Scotland. We got a tour around the whole process of making the whiskey on the campus. We met the on-campus cats named Glen and Turret, and we also got to taste some whiskey, and this was my very first time tasting straight liquor. So it was an experience. It wasn't bad, but it was definitely an experience, to say the least.
So if you don't drink whiskey, what's the drink of choice?
And you know me, most of the time where I go somewhere, I have to buy something. So I got a t-shirt, because the t-shirts weren't bad. Everything, it was either like a t-shirt or a polo where you had to buy expensive whiskey. And I'm just freshly 21, so I didn't really think to buy whiskey. And my parents don't really drink either. So, I let that go and I just bought a t-shirt and a keychain. But yeah. After the distillery, we drove to Mill Lane, where we had lunch at the Old Mill Inn. I ended up having a steak sandwich, which was really good, and we had a chance to walk around a little bit, and we stopped at what I think is the most famous cafe in the UK, not Starbucks, but Greg's, and I had my first ever pumpkin spice latte. After we had lunch, we got back on the coach and drove to a very nice farm called the Lalt Farm, where we met a Highland cow and all of the sheepdogs. They were all adorable. They had puppies, so we got to pet the puppies. We saw the process of how the shepherd trains the sheepdogs, and how the sheepdogs gather the sheep when he calls them to. It was really a great time, and we were there for like an hour, but it was really great. It was a little cloudy, but it wasn't raining, so we were good. But yeah, that was one of the best parts of this whole weekend trip, and it was only the first day. Drove to Loch Morlich, which was if you don't know what a loch is, it's basically like a very big lake, and it was very cloudy that day, so we couldn't see the castle, which was just past the loch, but it was a very nice time. It was a very nice, it was a nice break, from the driving, because it took us a little while to get there. And then after that, we arrived at our accommodations, which was actually a hostel in Inverness, where we had dinner. I don't have that here because it was with new people that I didn't know. But we had dinner. I had some pizza that night, but I had to go back because I had a coding assignment for a possible internship. They ended up not getting, but it's fine. On the next day, we departed from Inverness and went to take a tour of the Culloden battlefield, where they took us around not the whole battlefield, but the main parts of the battlefield. We got to see some graves, which the tour guide told us that most likely were not correctly labeled. They just put gravestones, where they wanted to. We went inside of the museum, looked around a little bit, and then we left. After that, we went to Urquhart Castle. It was a very nice change of scenery. I was always told that Scotland had a lot of castles, but this was my first trip to one of these castles, and it was a very nice view. I didn't read it. I don't think those are maps. Those are bigger. I don't know. It might be the plague. Me neither. You're good. After that, we drove to Fort William where we had lunch. Me and my friend Lucy actually ended up not having lunch because we looked around a lot of shops and we didn't have time because we had to be back on the bus at a certain time. So we actually just stopped. Well, I stopped and got coffee and a muffin. She did get real food, but it was very simple. It was like shrimp and rice. But yeah. After lunch, we went to the Glenfinnan Viaduct. Most people won't know the name of this, but they know it from a movie. Harry Potter fans will know it. That is the bridge that they take to get from one place to... Okay, day 3. This was the shortest day, of course, because this is where we all had to go back to our respective colleges. So, our first stop of the day was St. Conan's Kirk, which was a Gothic church. You got to walk around, see the different art pieces, and just the overall look of the church. Originally, when I heard Gothic church, I used to think, the stereotypical goth, black and red. But it was a very nice church, actually. The day before, they had an event where you could carve pumpkins, so there were some pumpkins lying around. You got to see, I don't know if it was his actual, burial or anything, or if they just respected this guy there, but there was a casket of some kind in there. It was very spacious. If you were in there singing opera, it would sound very good, I bet. Falls of Dochart, which was this very big river that connected also to one of the lochs in Scotland. And then right next to that was the place where we had lunch at the Falls of Dochart Inn. After that, we drove for a little bit and we stopped to meet some Highland coos. Yes, I know they're cows, but here they call them Highland coos, which are, very furry, long-haired cows. You could pay to feed them. I wasn't doing that. My goal was to buy a gift for every member of my family this weekend. So to visit Doon Castle. We got to take a little bit of a trek there, but it wasn't that bad. But some people may know this castle specifically from Monty Python or from Outlander, which is what most people know it from. I knew it from Monty Python, personally. But yeah, we walked around here, and you got a little audio, player. So throughout the little rooms of each part of the castle, you could enter the number, and it will give you a little rundown of that specific room, which is pretty cool. That was the end of this trip. It was a great trip, a great birthday. And if you ever go to Scotland, I highly recommend visiting the Highlands. You don't have to do the same itinerary we did, but I highly recommend going. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.